According to all known laws of aviation, there's no way the B-movie should actually exist. It is too weird and too odd to even make any sense. But the B-movie, of course, exists anyway, because the B-movie doesn't give a shit about what makes any sense. We are talking about B-movie, which is quite literally a living meme. This movie was made for one reason only. Jerry Seinfeld was talking to Steven Spielberg one time, and he made a joke about a bee suing the human race. And Spielberg thought it was so funny that the next day he's like, "Hey, DreamWorks is gonna make that pitch into a movie." And yeah, that's how B-movie was created. I'm not even joking. And yeah, it kind of spiraled out of control into basically a whole full motion shitpost. It is one of the oddest movies ever because it doesn't really give a shit about anything. In fact, the original script was better because it cared even less. I think the biggest problem with B-movie is that it wants to be all bullshit, but at the end of the day, it tries near the end, and it just falls apart. So the B-movie is about Jerry Seinfeld as a bee. What's the deal with bees? And if you couldn't guess, there's a crap ton of bee puns.
A perfect report card. All bees.
So Jerry Seinfeld is a bee named Barry B. Benson, and he lives in a hive, but I don't want to work here anymore. I want to get out and see the world. This movie is honestly kind of hard to talk about because it's such a weird fever dream of a movie. Like, it makes sense, but at the same time, like, what you're seeing it without, like, hearing it makes sense. Like, the design of the hive itself is pretty great, actually. I really like the way this film looks, at least from the perspective of, I guess, this. But, of course, the humans look great in this movie, but we'll get to that. But describing the plot and what goes on, it's mostly just a bunch of weirdly weird and odd jokes.
That girl was hot.
She's my cousin.
She is?
Yes, we're all cousins.
Right.
Yes, so B-movie says that incest is okay, because I'm not joking, because it kind of works the same way as Ants did, so if Ants try to actually explain and make the world make sense. Here, they all fuck each other, despite the fact they're technically all related. So, yeah, it makes a whole lot of sense. And why would he get offended about that she's his cousin? Shouldn't he already know that? Technically, they're not even cousins, they're technically brother and sister. Or where the hell it is. It's really weird. Also, yeah, there's these pawn jock guys who are like act like assholes in this one scene only. Because the rest of the movie, they're not assholes. So I don't get why they act like bullies in this one scene. The rest of the movie, they're like, yeah, we like you, Barry. This is one scene we don't like you. I don't get it! Now, Barry's dad here decides it's a good idea to teach his son how to masturbate.
You grab that stick and you just move it around and you stir it around. You get yourself into a rhythm. It's a beautiful thing.
So before Barry B. Benson can get a job at Hunex, he's like, I want to go outside the hive! Which so happens to be in New York, because for some reason every movie has to take place in New York. I've been to New York, it's cool, but why does every single movie take place in New York? Also, you think they use this as an excuse to show, like, have an Ants reference, but there isn't. Yeah, despite the fact they're both about insects and take place in Times Square. Not Times Square, Central Park, they don't coexist, I guess. Whatever. So Barry B. Benson gets stuck in this human apartment where he's almost eaten by this one guy. And he almost dies. Also, that one guy, I swear, they use that human model like all the time in this movie. But this one woman's like, I'm gonna save this bee because I like bees. And of course, that makes Barry B. Benson's stinger very hard. And he wants to be with her. I wish I was joking about that, but that's a main plot point of this movie. So Barry's like, how can I press this woman? Oh, I know!
You like jazz?
So Barry reveals that he can talk, because every animal in this universe can talk, but it's bee law that they can't. Like I said, every animal can talk, because we see a cow at the end that can talk, or some BS like that, but, you know, this movie makes no sense. It's kind of the whole point. And despite the fact that they just have a conversation, when Barry goes back to the hive, actually he was dating her or something.
Well.
Well, I met someone.
You met someone? Was she bee-ish? Well, not a wasp.
Also, Barry has a wet dream about him being with her, I guess. It's really pointless. Like, I don't know why they did this. Also, she died. You didn't get the main plot point. Barry discovers that they're stealing our honey. It's hard to make, even though I don't do any of it, because I'm lazy. I'm gonna sue the human race. Though Barry first discovers the secret evil organizations of bee farms. Despite popular belief, beekeepers actually don't like bees. They actually hate them and revel in their pain for some reason in this movie.
They make the honey, and we make the money.
Also, there's a really weird drag joke.
A man in woman's clothes!
Also, in deleted scenes, actually was going to showcase the actual queen of the hive, but they don't do this for some reason. I think the scene's actually pretty funny and adds a lot more to the story. Most like a lot of the deleted scenes in the B movie. I don't know why any of them are cut, to be honest. They make the film more coherent, because the film is very incoherent without a lot of these scenes. But in order to sue the humans, Barry has to go on Be Larry King. If you think that's funny, well, the people who made this movie, I guess Jerry Seinfeld, because he wrote this movie, thinks it's very funny to point out this guy is just like Larry King. Yeah, there's also this guy. He's Ken. He's voiced by Patrick Warburton, and people like him a lot because he's the only character that makes sense in the movie. It's but the fact he doesn't know how to scoop up ice cream, and he basically gets cucked by a bee, and that's his whole character. It made more sense in the original draft, but here, just like this character just exists just for jokes, and that's it. And for some reason, his girlfriend wants to be with a bee instead of him. So the bees go to court. Yeah, this is the main plot point. It's really not that entertaining, to be honest, of all the points in the movie. Like, why is the court the most important thing? When I learned this whole movie is based off the court scene, it's like, really? This scene? Also, it's revealed that Barry actually can't talk. So the B court is one of the dumbest scenes in the movie, where we get this overweight lawyer who defends the companies. Then we get a lot of stuff that makes no sense, like, this guy's name is Sting! That's a secret of the bees! How? You can get stung by a lot of things, not just bees. Also, this guy's a really ugly model. I swear they reuse this model all the time. Like I said, this character model, they just use all the time. It looks awful. Also, instead of making a new bear model, they just used the Vincent model from Over the Hedge, but made him brown. It's kind of weird. Also, Ray Liotta's there, and he makes honey, apparently. And he wants to kill Barry B with his Emmy? Is that what that is? I don't give a shit. Words are worthless. Fuck you. So yeah, Ken here decides it's a good idea to kill Barry because he's fucking annoying. Oh, please don't kill me. I have a lot to live for. I have a wife and kids.
To be the nicest bee I've met in a long time.
Long time? What are you talking about? Are there other bugs in your life?
So if you couldn't guess, the Vanessa character here is really, really weird. Like, why'd she phrase it like that? So Ken leaves her because he doesn't like honey anyway, and he's allergic to bees, so he's like, fuck you. So Barry B wins the case by playing the race card.
Our lives as honey slaves to the white man!
So Barry now controls lawmakers, so he kills Winnie the Pooh for some reason, and commits police brutality on old ladies.
I can't breathe!
So the bees have too much honey now, so they don't do their job, meaning that the whole world dies. And it happens, like, overnight, like, really fast, like, it happens in 1 minute. And the plot drastically changes to, oh, no, we gotta save the flowers! There's that model again, I swear, that guy probably has the same model as that one guy. They reuse the same model all the time. So they have to hijack a plane to save the flowers! Also, Barry finally gets a job, because his whole time he wanted to be a pollen jock. You didn't know that? You know how much I mentioned that? Because he didn't say that he wanted to do that at all. Now he's like, this is what I want to do with my life. Okay, it makes a whole lot of sense. It makes much sense that I'm describing it. It really just comes out of nowhere. This is what I've always wanted to do. Even though I never said I want to do this. Oh yeah, there's talking cows in this movie now. I bet you didn't know that. So I guess Barry wanted to own his own legal advice columnist, apparently.
That bee is living my life!
Let it go, Kenny.
When will this nightmare end?
But no, he actually wants to be a pollen guy, or where the hell it is. What is his character? I take pollen and I also give legal advice from the side. This makes perfect sense. Believe it or not, I prefer the ending where he goes to the moon.
Mr. Benson, control, do you read? Roger that, Houston. Well, congratulations, Major. Because of your
Yeah, I did make up that moon thing. That actually happened, and that's the end of B movie. A movie that is basically a whole shitpost. It's kind of fun to make fun of and have people read the script because the script makes no sense. But watching it as an actual movie, it just doesn't really work that well. My final score is 5 out of 10 or 2.5 out of 5 stars. It is just a very odd movie that had good concepts, but it just stumbled the ball completely. The animation feels rushed. The ideas feel rushed. It feels like a movie that wasn't really fully complete, conceptually wise, which I already know that because they had so many deleted scenes that explain things that weren't part of the movie because I guess they didn't have time. Well, so there's some creative moments. At the end of the day, the B movie is mostly just going to be considered a meme. And the fact that Seinfeld's like, We should make B-movie too! I don't think that's ever going to happen. B-movie is just not that great of a movie, unfortunately. B-movie is going into our E tier, right above Flushed Away, not quite making it to the D tier. It's just not very good, structurally speaking. I think this movie's only really entertaining if you have a bunch of people just like laughing at it, more than watching it by itself, because by itself it just doesn't really work that well, unfortunately. I had no idea to rank these villains, because they're barely a part of the movie, let alone really villainous enough. I guess one tries to kill Barry, but at the same time, it makes perfect sense. He's an annoying bee at this point. And he stole his life! I can't do an impression. But yeah, the character of Ken was supposed to be in the movie a lot more, but because he's barely in it, he makes more sense than most of the characters in the movie. Which is not what you want to have a character like that. And the lawyer guy, he's just fat and jiggles his giblets around and gets stung in the ass. Not really that entertaining of a character, let alone a villain. If it had the beekeepers on here on this list, I would have put them in S tier, because they like to puff up bees with nicotine for some reason. Because they make the honey and they make the money. And that is it for B-movie. Luckily, this is the end of talking about crappy movies, because next time we're going to be looking at a good movie, Kung Fu Panda. See you then.